Tell us more about exactly what Tumblr is and who uses it.
I mean, and this is not just a bet, Emily, on a blogging platform, which is what Tumblr's all about. It's a big bet on a 26-year-old New York entrepreneur named David Karp, who started up this business in part because he wanted to be able to communicate in a somewhat different way than the platforms that we talk a lot about on this show, like Facebook and Twitter. That if you want to do a blog post, or you want to do a short update, or you want to put a photo, or you want to put a video, you can do that, and you can tailor your post experience in a way that some of the other social networking players have more rigid rules surrounding. And he also started it, by the way, during a 2-week stint when he was not doing some other projects. So an impressive entrepreneur. But remember, David Karp was on Bloomberg West in the fall of last year and was asked about this idea of, hey, what about this company going public? Here's his interesting answer to that question at the time.
We have a little ways to go. We definitely have more to prove, and we'll see. This company is certainly not for sale.
So the company wasn't for sale at that point, according to David Karp. So what happened? I mean, $1.1 billion is a lot of money, but remember, Twitter was recently valued at $10 billion. There has been some buzz, or had been some buzz, that Tumblr was looking for a chief operating officer, someone who could potentially play the role of a Sheryl Sandberg, if you will, at this company. And we don't know the reasoning for why perhaps that didn't end up happening. But you know, as Doug McMillan was pointing out, there have been a few options over a long stretch for them to go down this road. Why are they choosing to do so now? Emily?
Right. They started talking back in December, according to Doug. David Karp, an interesting guy, a guy who dropped out of high school when he was just 15 years old. He was an engineer, obviously, and now he's gone on to found Tumblr. Let's talk about how they've been making money up to this point, the little money that they do make. You know, he sort of mentioned that they could theoretically flip a switch if they wanted to make more. Is that really true?
I think it's always tough with these businesses. I mean, as you were pointing out, the fact that Marissa Mayer chose to put in the press release that we're not going to screw this up speaks to the fact that it can be really, really difficult when you start to turn on the taps, and that you have to do this in a very careful way. I mean, we mentioned the example of Twitter. Twitter is a company that has gone out and hired all sorts of executives that have experience from all sorts of industries, not just technology, but media, to make that transition. You can't just put ads into the experience and expect that the users won't get frustrated by that. So what are some of the other ways that they can do that? And that's why, obviously, it is a very challenging thing, and maybe what played ultimately into Yahoo's hands in this whole story.